The courtroom froze the moment Chief Randall slammed his badge onto the bench, its metal clatter slicing through the tension like a threat. "Your Honor," he sneered, "I don't answer to daytime TV judges." The audience gasped. Judge Judy didn't blink. Instead, she leaned forward, eyes sharp as shattered glass, and whispered a line that made even the bailiff stiffen. "Then today, Chief, you'll answer to the truth." What happened next, no one in that room saw coming. But before we jump in, tell me, where are you watching from? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The badge still lies on the bench, its edge hanging just over the wood, like it might jump. Chief Randall does not take the seat the bailiff points to. He stands in the center of the courtroom instead, broad shoulders squared, chest out, his uniform pressed so sharp it almost reflects the overhead lights. He looks around as if every person in the room works for him. Judge Judy watches him without moving. Only her eyes shift, tracking every tiny flex of his jaw, every curl of his lip. "Chief Randall," she says, her voice steady, "this is not your station house. You will sit." He gives a tight, mocking smile. "With respect, Your Honor," he answers, "I stand when I speak. That is how we do things in my department." The bailiff shifts closer. The audience leans forward on the benches. There's a low rustle of clothing, papers, breath. Nobody quite dares to speak. Judge Judy does not raise her voice. "Then today," she replies, "you will learn how we do things in this courtroom. Sit." The camera could be a close-up now, right on his face, the smirk, the flash of irritation, the calculation. After a long second, he drops into the chair with exaggerated slowness, like he wants everyone to believe he is choosing to obey, not being forced. On the plaintiff's side, an empty chair waits. A folder rests there, edges softened from being handled too many times. The name on the front is simple, Luis Ortega. "Let us begin," Judge Judy says. "Chief, you are here today because Mr. Ortega alleges that during a traffic stop you harassed him, threatened his job, and seized property that never found its way into any official report. Do you understand that claim?" Randall laughs under his breath and leans back. "I understand that some people do not like being held accountable," he answers. "He was speeding. His car was a mess. I did my job. Now he wants a payday." Judge Judy watches him like someone watches a puzzle piece that does not quite fit. "So your position," she says slowly, "is that this was a routine stop, handled by the book?" "Exactly," she nods once. "Good. Then you will not mind walking me through your documentation." He shrugs. "It is all in my report." The clerk hands up a thin stack. Judge Judy flips through page after page, her eyes moving faster than her fingers. The sound of paper turning feels louder than it should. "No mention of any property taken from the vehicle," she says at last. "There was nothing worth taking," he fires back. "Old tools, junk, I remember that car." "So you remember the tools," she says, "but you did not list them." He shifts, the chair creaks. "Because I did not take them." Judge Judy places the report down. "You also wrote," she continues, "that your body camera was malfunctioning during this stop, correct?" Randall lifts his chin. "Yes, it happens. Technology is not perfect." Her gaze hardens, just a fraction. "How many times in the last 6 months has your camera malfunctioned during a stop that led to a citizen complaint?" That throws him, his eyes narrow. "I do not have those numbers in front of me." "I do," she answers. She taps the file. Four complaints, 4 missing recordings, all yours." The audience murmurs. The bailiff gives a slight warning glance to the gallery and the whispers fall back into uneasy breathing. "Malfunctions happen," Randall insists, but his voice is not as smooth now. "We work with what the city gives us, old gear, bad batteries. You would not understand." Judge Judy leans forward, elbows resting lightly on the bench. Her tone stays calm, almost gentle. "Let me tell you what I understand," she says. "I understand patterns. I understand fear. And I understand when someone with a badge thinks rules are optional." He opens his mouth to answer, but she lifts a hand and shuts him up without a word. "You say this was a routine stop," she continues. "You say you did nothing wrong. You say your camera failed, conveniently. So here's what we are going to do." The camera would pull back now, taking in the room. The silent clerk, the tense bailiff, the empty plaintiff's chair with that worn folder sitting in it like a quiet witness. Judge Judy turns to the clerk. "Bring in the complaining witness," she says. Her eyes slide back to Randall, never leaving his face. "The one person," she adds softly, "you have been hoping would never walk through that door." The door opens before anyone breathes. A figure steps in, slow, careful, like he's entering a place that has already judged him long before he speaks. Luis Ortega stands just inside the doorway, fingers tight around a sealed envelope. The fluorescent lights catch the faint tremor in his hands. His shoulders are squared, but only barely. Chief Randall scoffs under his breath, loud enough for everyone to hear. Judge Judy notices. She always notices. "Mr. Ortega," she says, voice steady, "come forward." Luis walks to the plaintiff's table, placing the envelope down as though it contained something fragile, breakable, maybe even dangerous. His eyes flick toward Randall, then back to the judge. He swallows. "State your name," she instructs. "Luis Ortega," he says quietly. I work at J&J Auto Repair, full-time." His voice cracks, not from fear, more from the weight of finally being allowed to speak in front of the person who silenced him. Judge Judy nods. "And you filed this complaint regarding your interaction with Chief Randall?" "Yes, Your Honor." Randall interrupts with a dismissive wave. "He's lying for money. This is a shakedown." Luis flinches, but Judy doesn't even look at the chief when she responds. "Chief Randall, if you speak out of turn again, you will be removed. Let Mr. Ortega testify." A quiet settles. Heavy, expectant. "Tell me," she says gently, "what happened that evening?" Luis shifts, gripping the edge of the table. "He pulled me over near the South Industrial Road, said my taillight was out, but it wasn't. I know it wasn't. He asked for my license, then asked where I worked, who owned the shop, whether I had anything to hide. He sounded like he already decided I did." Judge Judy's eyes narrow slightly. The camera would catch the subtle change. Luis reaches for the envelope. "And he took things from my car, tools, personal stuff. He said they were evidence but never logged them. That gets the audience. A ripple of murmurs rises and falls like a tide. Randall smirks. Look at him, he rehearsed this. Luis finally looks at him, really looks at him. Something steadies behind his eyes. "I didn't rehearse anything," he says. "I've been afraid, that's different." He slides the envelope toward Judge Judy. "What's inside?" she asks. "Pictures," he says, taken that same night, of the items he removed from my car. A friend took them because I thought no one would believe me." Judge Judy opens the envelope. One photograph slides out, then another. Tools spread on the hood of a police cruiser, Luis's tool bag, his registration, a small personal notebook. Randall snorts. "Photos can be staged." Judge Judy lifts the top photo, her expression turning razor sharp. "Perhaps, but staging these," she says, "would require access to your police vehicle, Chief." His smirk falters. She holds up the picture so the courtroom, and Randall, can see clearly. A police cruiser with Randall's unit number, clearly visible under streetlights. "Chief Randall," she says, voice suddenly cold, "why is your car in every single one of these photographs?" Randall's lips part, but no sound comes out. Judge Judy doesn't blink. "Before you answer," she continues softly, "there is someone else who needs to speak. Clerk, bring in the next witness." The moment the next witness is announced, Chief Randall's reaction is too fast, too sharp. His head snaps toward the door as if he already knows who's coming and desperately wishes he didn't. That alone is a crack. Judge Judy notices it instantly. The courtroom door opens. No one enters yet, just a shadow stretching across the floor like a warning. The tension coils tighter. Randall clears his throat, voice suddenly loud. "Your Honor, before we proceed, I'd like to clarify—" "No," Judge Judy cuts him off, her tone surgical. "You will clarify when I ask you to clarify. Sit still." He does, but the muscle in his jaw twitches. The witness steps inside. Not a dramatic entrance, not a heroic stride. Just a quiet, hesitant walk of someone who'd rather be anywhere else but knows he can't run from the truth anymore. It's a records clerk from the department, young, stiff-backed, anxious. His name tag catches the light, R. Patel. Randall's eyes narrow to slits. Patel doesn't look at him, not once. He goes straight to the stand, palms sweating as he adjusts the microphone. Judge Judy offers a steadying nod. Mr. Patel, you work for Chief Randall's department? Yes, ma'am, in evidence management. A shift in the audience. People sit straighter. Evidence management means records, logs, documentation, the things that do not disappear on their own. Judge Judy continues. Mr. Patel, did you bring the body cam malfunction logs I requested? Randall sits forward sharply. I was not informed of that request. Correct, Judy says without looking at him. You weren't. Patel reaches into a folder and hands up a form. The paper crackles in the hush of the courtroom. Judge Judy scans it, eyes flicking line to line faster than most people breathe. Then she stops. Chief Randall, she says, voice cool, you stated your camera malfunctioned during Mr. Ortega's stop. Yes, Randall replies, trying to sound bored. Equipment failure. I've said this. And you also stated it malfunctioned on June 4th, July 9th, and August 2nd, correct? He nods. Judge Judy turns the page. Mr. Patel, according to department maintenance logs, were there any malfunctions recorded for Chief Randall's camera on these dates? Patel's throat bobs. His answer is small but deadly. No, Your Honor, none. A ripple runs through the room. Randall's fists clench. Clerical error, he snaps. This kid probably misplaced the files. Patel finally looks at him, not with fear, just exhaustion. I didn't misplace anything, Chief. Judge Judy's voice drops lower. Chief, accusing a witness of incompetence does not erase documented fact. He leans forward, voice growing harsh, brittle. This is ridiculous. I didn't need a body cam to handle a simple stop. The kid resisted. He mouthed off. Luis flinches. Judge Judy catches it. You handled him, she repeats quietly. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you handled the truth the same way, by trying to make it disappear. Randall's face reddens. Are you accusing me of tampering? I'm observing inconsistencies, she says, big ones. The silence stretches, until Judge Judy breaks it with a gesture to the bailiff. Bring in the tablet, she says. Oh, we're not done. Randall stiffens. Judy adds, her gaze pinning him to the chair. There's footage, Chief. Footage you claimed didn't exist. And this time, she says, letting the words cool and heavy, you're in it. The lights dim just slightly as the bailiff sets the tablet on the evidence stand. It's subtle, but enough to shift the air, enough to make the room feel smaller, tighter, like the walls themselves are waiting to watch. Chief Randall doesn't blink, doesn't move, but the pulse at his temple jumps. Judge Judy taps the screen. A burst of static fills the speakers, harsh, grating, the kind of sound that makes everyone tense. Then the image stabilizes. A dark road, streetlight glow, and Randall's cruiser. Luis inhales sharply. Randall's voice fills the speakers first, sharp, commanding, unmistakable. Step out of the car, now. The courtroom goes still. On the screen, Luis steps from his vehicle. His hands are visible. His voice is calm, respectful, afraid but controlled, not combative, not resisting, nothing like Randall described. Judge Judy lets the footage play in full silence. License! Video Randall barks. Luis hands it over. But then, Randall moves closer. Too close. The camera's microphone catches every word. You work at that shop, right? J&J? Yes, sir. You got anything you're not telling me? Tools, parts, stuff you don't want logged? Luis shakes his head in the video. The camera captures the tremble in his fingers. Real Luis looks down at the table. Video Randall smirks. We'll see about that. He walks around the car, opens the passenger door without permission, rummages. The audience gasps. Then the audio catches something else, soft but clear. Cooperate, or I'll find a reason to make your life harder. Immigration loves when I call. Luis closes his eyes. The sound of Judge Judy's pen hitting the bench, light but final, makes everyone flinch. Randall jumps to his feet. This is fake! A deep fake! You can't trust manipulated footage. Judge Judy doesn't even address him at first. She's staring at the tablet, her expression colder than any gavel strike. Chief, she finally says, this recording is stamped with your department's metadata, time, date, GPS location. It came directly from internal servers. Randall scoffs. Anyone could fake a timestamp. Judy's eyes lift, slowly, dangerously. Is that your professional assessment? My assessment, he fires back. Is that someone inside my department is setting me up? Patel shifts uncomfortably. The tension snaps tight again. Judge Judy leans back. Your defense is that every malfunction, every complaint, every missing file, every officer who contradicts you are all part of a conspiracy? Randall doesn't answer, because before he can, the audio on the tablet shifts. A second voice appears. Not Luis, not Randall. Someone holding a second recording device, someone close, someone who knows Randall's exact words before he says them, speaking them under their breath as if anticipating the script. Judge Judy freezes the frame. Chief, she says softly, would you like to explain why someone else at that scene knew exactly what you planned to say? Randall's face drains. Because that, Judge Judy continues, sliding the tablet away, sounds a lot like a whistleblower. For a long, breathless second, the room is nothing but stillness. Chief Randall sits rigid, eyes darting between the judge and the tablet as if searching for an escape route hidden somewhere in the pixels. The implication of a second recording hangs in the air like a storm cloud, edged with lightning. Someone else was there. Someone who knew what he planned. Someone who recorded him. A shadow he didn't know he had. Judge Judy folds her hands. Chief Randall, she says calmly, you may want to choose your next sentence very carefully. Randall's throat works, but no words come. Not yet. Luis watches him with a quiet, conflicted expression, fear mixing with an emotion he hasn't allowed himself to feel in months. Validation. Patel, the clerk, sits frozen beside the stand, knuckles white around his folder. Even he doesn't know who the second angle belongs to. There's no whistleblower, Randall finally growls, forcing steel into his voice. There's a traitor. That's what this is. His glare sweeps the room like a searchlight. One of my officers is stabbing me in the back. Judge Judy's eyebrow lifts. Impossibly slight, impossibly devastating. Or, she counters, one of your officers witnessed misconduct and acted to preserve the truth, which is the opposite of treachery. The gallery murmurs. Even the bailiff shifts, the leather of his belt creaking. Randall slams his palm on the table. You don't have any proof who recorded that. Anyone could have... But the panic has already leaked through. His voice strains. His hands tremble, just enough to betray him. Judy doesn't raise her tone. She lowers it. That alone makes the room lean in. Mr. Ortega, she says, turning to Luis. You mentioned earlier someone gave you the envelope containing the photographs. Did you know this person? Luis hesitates. His fingers brush the edge of the envelope on the table, remembering. No, Your Honor, not by name. It was nighttime. He just stepped out of the shadows near my shop. Said he didn't have long. Told me to keep the pictures safe, that one day I'd need them. And what did he look like? Judy asks. Luis swallows. Tired, scared. His eyes flick just briefly toward Randall. Randall stands abruptly, the chair screeching behind him. This is absurd. He's making this up. Judy's voice slices through his outburst. Sit down. He does, slowly. But the cracks in his armor widen. Luis continues, quieter now. He said, the chief is going to bury you if you don't protect yourself. He said others were scared too. The courtroom reacts, soft gasps, shifting weight, whispered disbelief. Others, plural. Judy taps a finger on the bench, once, twice, a metronome of impending consequence. Chief Randall, she asks, are you aware of any officers within your department who expressed concerns about your conduct? Randall shakes his head too fast. No, none. This whole thing is a smear. Patel finally clears his throat. Every eye turns. Your Honor, he says quietly, it wasn't just one officer. Randall whirls toward him. What did you say? Patel doesn't flinch this time. I said it wasn't one. There are several anonymous statements on file, complaints, concerns, people afraid to speak publicly. Randall's face drains. Judge Judy sits back. Her expression unreadable, unmovable. Interesting, she murmurs. Very interesting. The door behind the gallery creaks open. Footsteps, slow, heavy, deliberate. An officer enters, head lowered, badge trembling against his chest. Someone Randall clearly recognizes, his shoulders tense like a man bracing for impact. Judge Judy turns toward the newcomer. "Officer," she says, "step forward. We've been expecting you." Officer Hale enters like a man walking into his own sentencing. His uniform is neat, but his posture isn't. His shoulders slope inward, his steps too measured, like he rehearsed how to walk without shaking. The badge pinned to his chest reflects the courtroom lights, trembling with each inhale. Chief Randall watches him with a mixture of disbelief and rage. Not fear, yet, but something close. Judge Judy nods toward the witness stand. "Officer Hale, please take your seat." He sits. His hands fold together so tightly his knuckles turn white. "State your name and role for the record," she instructs. "Hale Morris, Your Honor, patrol officer, 7 years on the force." Judge Judy's eyes soften for the briefest second, compassion without compromise. "Officer Hale, you submitted the anonymous internal statement regarding Chief Randall's conduct, yes?" He hesitates. Randall leans forward, voice dripping venom. "Careful, Morris." The bailiff takes a single step closer to Randall's side. Hale lifts his chin. "Yes, Your Honor, I did." The sound slices through the courtroom. Randall mutters, "Unbelievable," but Judy silences him with a single raised hand. "Officer Hale," she says, "did you record the second angle of the traffic stop involving Mr. Ortega?" Hale's jaw tightens. He glances, just once, at Randall. The unspoken history between them hangs thick in the air. "Yes," he answers, "I recorded it." Gasps ripple through the gallery. Randall explodes out of his chair. "Traitor, you—" "Chief Randall, sit down," Judy snaps. Hale doesn't look at him again. "I recorded it because it wasn't the first time, and I knew it wouldn't be the last." Judge Judy leans forward. "Explain." Hale's breath shudders. He targets people. Vulnerable people, new immigrants, young drivers, people who won't fight back, and he instructs other officers, quietly off the record, to do the same. Randall slams his fist on the table. "You're lying, you little—" "Another outburst," Judy warns, "and you'll be escorted out." Hale continues, voice gaining steadiness the more he speaks. "Chief Randall told us to escalate stops with anyone who looked like trouble." His words, not mine. He said it helps justify department funding, and when any of us questioned it, he threatened our assignments, our evaluations, our careers. He swallows hard. "I recorded that stop because for the first time, I thought he might actually ruin someone's life." Luis bows his head, overcome. Judge Judy gestures. "Do you have additional evidence?" Hale nods shakily and hands a USB drive to the bailiff. "Internal messages," he says. "Instructions from Chief Randall. He told us to create compliance, even if it meant bending documentation." Judge Judy places the drive beside the tablet. Her expression is unreadable, heavy, measured, preparing for the weight of what comes next. "Chief Randall," she says quietly, "this isn't one officer's accusation. It's a pattern." Randall's voice cracks, not in weakness, but in barely restrained fury. "This is a setup, all of you. You're conspiring against me." But for the first time, his eyes betray something else. A flicker, a fracture, fear. Judge Judy folds her hands. "And now, Chief, we examine your intent. Tell me in the comments. At this moment, would you trust anything the Chief says?" The tension in the room shifts, no longer a slow boil, but a sudden snap. Chief Randall straightens in his chair, fury replaced by something far more dangerous: calculation. His eyes sharpen, his breathing steadies, and the tremor in his hands disappears as though he's flipped a switch inside himself. It's the calm of a man who believes he still holds cards no one else can see. Judge Judy watches him, noting every change. "Chief," she begins, "you've heard the testimony." He cuts her off with a raised hand, a gesture meant to show control, a gesture that fails instantly in this courtroom. "With all due respect, Your Honor," Randall says, voice suddenly smooth, "I'm done entertaining fabricated accusations. It's time we discuss real evidence." He reaches into his briefcase. The gallery tenses. The bailiff's hand drifts subtly toward his holster, not in threat, but in readiness. Randall produces a file and slides it across the table with theatrical precision. "A sworn affidavit," he announces, from a superior officer attesting that Hale Morris, your so-called whistleblower, is unreliable, insubordinate, and has been disciplined multiple times for falsifying reports. Hale stiffens. His eyes widen, not in guilt, but in shock. He knows what's inside that file, but more importantly, he knows who signed it. Judge Judy accepts the folder without comment. She flips it open. The pages are pristine, signatures neat, statements carefully crafted to make Hale look unstable at best and malicious at worst. Convenient timing, she says. Randall gives a small, confident shrug. Truth doesn't need timing, Your Honor. Oh, but lies do, she replies. A flicker of irritation flashes across his face, but he doesn't break. Not yet. He rises slowly, addressing the courtroom as if giving a press conference. You're all being manipulated, he declares. Morris is trying to save himself from disciplinary action. Ortega wants a payout, and the evidence you've been shown is doctored by people who want my badge. Chief Randall, Judy warns, sit. He ignores her. This is a coordinated attack on a respected law enforcement officer. Chief, her voice sharpens, sit down, but he pushes on, voice growing louder. These accusations come from people with motives, people who hate authority, people who… Chief Randall, the gavel cracks like thunder. He stops mid-sentence. Judge Judy rises, not fully, but enough to shift the entire gravity of the room. You will not stand here, she says, voice quiet, and accuse every witness, every officer, every citizen who challenges you of being part of a conspiracy simply because they refuse to be afraid of you. Randall opens his mouth, but she continues before he can speak. And you will not weaponize your position to discredit honest officers. Hale exhales, shoulders shaking. But the chief smiles, a slow, unsettling, self-assured smile. Your Honor, he says softly, leaning forward, you really think these people can touch me? I run that department. I train those officers. They answer to me. A chill spreads across the room. Chief, Judy says, are you suggesting you hold influence over the outcome of this case? He tilts his head, eyes narrowing with dangerous arrogance. I'm suggesting, he murmurs, that some judges forget who ensures their safety. The gallery gasps. The bailiff steps forward. Judge Judy does not move, does not flinch, does not blink. Her voice becomes ice. Chief Randall, are you threatening this court? Randall's smile widens just a fraction. Take it however you want, Judge. For a moment, the world seems to stop. The chief's words hover in the air like a blade suspended over the bench, dangerous, gleaming, deliberate. The gallery doesn't breathe. The bailiff shifts his stance, shoulders squared, one hand ready but controlled. Even the hum of the courtroom lights feels louder. Judge Judy does not look shaken. She looks disappointed. The kind of disappointment that carries more weight than anger ever could. Chief Randall, she says, voice low but ringing with authority, you are dangerously close to obstructing these proceedings. Randall leans back with a smugness that makes the room bristle. No obstruction, Your Honor, just a reminder. Courts rely on law enforcement, after all. We're the first line of protection. Luis's hands tighten around the edge of the table. Officer Hale's eyes widen. He's seen this version of Randall before, the one who believes the badge makes him untouchable. Judge Judy folds her hands slowly, carefully. When she speaks, each word is crystalline. And you believe referencing my safety in this moment is appropriate? He shrugs. I believe reality is appropriate. Things happen. People get hurt when they make enemies they shouldn't. The courtroom erupts in murmurs, shock, disgust, disbelief. The bailiff steps forward completely now. Chief, you watch yourself. Randall smirks, basking in the attention like it's a spotlight. But then Judy leans forward, not to intimidate, but to dissect him. You've threatened civilians, she says, your officers, and now a judge. Tell me, Chief, do you think this behavior is normal, professional, or even remotely defensible? He lifts his chin. I think you're blowing things out of proportion. And I think, she replies softly, you've just confirmed more than you realize. She turns to the clerk. Document his statement, she instructs, all of it. Randall's facade cracks for a microsecond, fear flashing beneath the arrogance, but he patches it fast. You can document whatever you want, he sneers. This still isn't going anywhere. But Judge Judy isn't looking at him anymore. She's looking at the back of the courtroom. Because the doors open, not slowly, not quietly, but with deliberate authority. Two figures step inside. Dark suits, polished badges, the unmistakable presence of people who do not need to announce who they are. State investigators. The entire gallery shifts like a single organism recoiling from a shockwave. Randall turns, expecting officers he controls, men who owe him loyalty or fear, but when he sees them, his smug posture collapses, his face drains. He takes one involuntary step back. No one misses it. Judge Judy nods once as though she's been waiting for this exact moment. "Chief Randall," she says, "before this hearing began, I forwarded concerns to the State Oversight Bureau. It seems they've come with answers." Randall's voice breaks. You what?" The lead investigator steps forward. "Chief Randall," he says, "we need to speak with you regarding an active inquiry." Luis exhales. Hale closes his eyes in relief. The balance of power finally tilts. The investigator locks eyes with Judge Judy. "Your Honor," he says, "there's one more piece of evidence you haven't seen yet." The footsteps of the investigators echo across the courtroom floor, measured, unhurried, confident. Not the swagger of local authority, not Randall's artificial dominance. This is federal weight, state-level precision. The kind of presence that ends careers before lunch. Randall knows it. He turns fully toward them, attempting to mask the tremor in his breath. It doesn't work. The lead investigator, tall, calm, a man built for uncomfortable truths, steps forward and presents a badge. "Chief Randall," he says, "I'm Investigator Cole, State Oversight Bureau. This is Investigator Ramirez. We've been conducting a preliminary inquiry into your department for several months." Several months. The words hit harder than any accusation so far. Randall forces a laugh that scrapes against the silence. "This is ridiculous. I haven't been informed of any inquiry." Cole's gaze is steady. "You weren't meant to be." A ripple moves through the gallery. Officer Hale straightens for the first time, as if a weight he's been carrying finally shifts. Luis grips the edge of the table, hope flickering across his face like a pilot light awakening. Judge Judy leans back, hands folded neatly. She is not smiling, but her calm radiates through the room like a verdict already decided. "Investigators," she says, "the floor is yours." Ramirez steps forward and places a sealed evidence pouch on the bench. "Your Honor, this contains recovered files from the department's internal server, deleted files." Randall stiffens. "Recovered? Impossible. Those servers are encrypted." Cole cuts him off. "Encrypted poorly." The gallery murmurs again. Cole continues. "During our inquiry, we identified multiple instances of manual deletion from accounts associated with your credentials, Chief." A thin sheen of sweat forms along Randall's hairline. "Anyone could have used my credentials." Cole smiles, not kindly. "Except the deletion logs include biometric authentication." The room goes silent. Even the air feels heavier. Judge Judy gestures for the pouch to be opened. Inside are several drives, each labeled with precise dates that align with Randall's malfunctioning body cam incidents. Luis releases a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. Officer Hale looks down, fighting the sting of vindication. Randall is unraveling. "This is a coordinated attack," he says, voice cracking under the strain. "You're all working together. Her, the complainant, these investigators." Ramirez interrupts, her tone cutting clean through his spiral. "Chief, no one in this room prompted our investigation. Your own conduct did." Judge Judy tilts her head. "Chief Randall, perhaps you should listen." Cole steps closer. "One of these files," he says, tapping the drives, "contains footage from an internal meeting, a closed-door session you chaired." Randall's face freezes. Cole adds, "A meeting recorded without your knowledge." Judge Judy raises an eyebrow. "And why," she asks, "was such a meeting recorded at all?" Cole responds, "Because one of your officers feared you." The courtroom absorbs the words like a blow. Randall flinches. Ramirez steps forward, steady and unyielding. "Your Honor, the footage is ready to present, but before you view it, there's one detail you must know." The investigators exchange a glance. Then Cole continues. "The content of this file contradicts every statement Chief Randall has made today." Ramirez places the drive gently on the bench. "It doesn't just document misconduct," she says. "It reveals premeditation." The courtroom lights dim slightly as Investigator Cole inserts the recovered drive into the playback system. A hush blankets the room, not anticipation, but dread. The kind of dread that comes before a truth no one is prepared to hear. Chief Randall shifts in his chair. His bravado from earlier is gone, replaced by rigid, silent tension. He knows what's coming. Everyone can feel it. The screen flickers to life, a black frame, a timestamp, a faint hum of an office air conditioner. Then, clarity. A closed briefing room inside the police department. The chief stands at the head of the table, addressing several officers. Hale is in the corner, partially outside the camera's angle, head down, arms folded. He looks younger, tired, afraid. Randall's voice fills the speakers, confident, commanding, dripping with entitlement. All right, listen up. We've had too many complaints lately. I want stops escalated. If someone looks like they'll cave, apply pressure, fast. No ambiguity, no misinterpretation, direct instruction. Officer Hale looks away from the screen, jaw clenched. The Randall in the video continues. Target the ones who won't fight back. Immigrants, young guys, nervous drivers, anyone who looks desperate enough to stay silent. Luis covers his mouth with his hand. The gallery erupts in stunned whispers until the bailiff signals for silence. Judge Judy's face remains carved from stone. Randall grips the table with whitening knuckles. This is edited. I never said. This is out of context. Cole shakes his head. There is no missing context, Chief. Back on the screen, Video Randall leans forward, voice lower, more sinister. And make sure your cameras don't catch anything you don't want seen. Equipment malfunctions, they happen. The officers exchange uneasy glances, but no one challenges him. Not then. Hale sinks into himself, the memory visibly crushing him. Judge Judy lifts one eyebrow, her voice ablade. Chief Randall, do you still contend that the 4 malfunctioning cameras were coincidence? Randall sputters, but the footage isn't done. The video cuts to a later moment in the meeting. Randall's tone shifts, more calculating, almost casual. There's a shop I want eyes on, J&J Auto Repair. Keep an eye out for a kid named... He checks a note. Luis Ortega. Luis freezes. Judge Judy's expression sharpens. Chief, this meeting occurred 2 weeks before your traffic stop with Mr. Ortega. Randall's jaw hangs slack. Investigator Ramirez steps forward, arms folded. This directly contradicts your sworn statement that the stop was routine. On the screen, Randall says one final line. If this Ortega kid gives any attitude, handle it. I don't want any more problems from that area. The video stops. Silence. Absolute silence. Luis looks at Judge Judy. She nods, once, as if to say you were right to come forward. Hale wipes his eyes, quick and discreet. Randall tries to stand, but his legs betray him for the first time. He sinks back down, face ashen. This is a lie, he whispers. All of it. Judge Judy leans in. Chief Randall, that file wasn't just deleted. It was hidden, and hidden things, she says, tend to expose the truth. The investigator steps forward. Your Honor, he says, the premeditation is only part of it. There's something else in the file, something that changes everything. For a moment, no one moves. The weight of the video still hangs over the courtroom like smoke, thick, choking, impossible to ignore. The truth wasn't whispered. It wasn't implied. It was spoken by the chief himself, recorded in his own voice, 2 weeks before he ever pulled Luis over. Premeditation. A word that hits harder than any accusation so far. Judge Judy sits slightly forward, fingertips pressed together, studying Randall the way a surgeon studies an X-ray just before making the first incision. Chief Randall, she says quietly, the footage clearly shows you identified Mr. Ortega before any traffic stop occurred. You instructed officers to target him. Do you deny this? Randall's throat works, but the words come out jagged. It was taken out of context. I didn't mean... Chief, she interrupts. We all heard what you meant. Luis watches Randall with wide, conflicted eyes. This is the man who made him afraid to drive at night, the man he thought he'd never be able to stand up to. Now that same man looks small, shrunken, cornered. Officer Hale's gaze stays fixed on the floor, not from guilt, from memory. The memory of being in that room. hearing those instructions, knowing they were wrong but terrified to defy them. Investigator Ramirez addresses the court. Your Honor, the documented premeditation alone warrants immediate escalation to the State Review Board. Randall snaps, "No, you can't do that. You don't understand. Ortega was connected to a case we were watching." Cole raises an eyebrow. "There is no record of such a case." Randall glares. "Because it wasn't logged." Judy's expression shifts. "Why not logged?" The chief opens his mouth, then closes it. No answer comes. Only a frustrated, choking silence. Judy speaks softly, almost with pity. "Chief, you built a pattern of excuses, but excuses crumble under evidence." She turns to Hale. "Officer Morris, you mentioned earlier that you feared repercussions for defying directives during these meetings. Can you explain?" Hale swallows. "Yes, Your Honor. The chief, he kept lists. People he felt were problems. Officers who didn't go along with him, civilians who asked too many questions, anyone who pushed back." Luis's breath catches. "Lists?" he repeats. Hale nods slowly. "Your name was on one, before the stop." Randall slams a hand on the table. "Enough! He's lying. You can't believe." But Cole interrupts him with a carefully controlled tone. "It's not just Luis's name that appears on those recovered notes." Hale stiffens. Judge Judy leans in. "Whose name is next?" Cole lifts another document, one pulled directly from the deleted archive. He turns it toward the courtroom. Hale's face drains of all color, because there, written in Randall's handwriting, underlined twice, is another target. Officer Hale Morris. A stunned silence hits the room like a physical force. Luis looks at Hale, horrified. Hale looks at Randall, not with anger this time, but with a quiet, devastating understanding. "You were going to destroy my career," Hale whispers. "You planned it before I ever reported anything." Randall's mask shatters. "You disobeyed me. You made me look weak." Judge Judy's voice slices through his outburst like a razor. "No, Chief, he made you look accountable." Investigator Cole closes the file. "Your Honor," he says darkly, "this isn't misconduct anymore. This is retaliation." The paper with Hale's name on it still hangs in the air, metaphorically, if not visibly, an accusation frozen in time. The courtroom feels colder now, the fluorescent lights harsher, each shadow sharper. Officer Hale sits rigid, his breath caught somewhere between disbelief and heartbreak. Judge Judy studies him with a quiet, steady gaze. "Officer Morris," she says gently, "take your time." Hale swallows hard, but the words spill out, cracked at the edges. I always knew he didn't like me. I questioned him sometimes. I pushed back when something felt wrong, on stops, on reports. He'd glare at me in roll call, make snide jokes, but I just thought," his voice tightens, "I thought it was personal, not planned." Luis watches him with a softened expression, a man who knows what it means to be targeted by someone who holds power over you. Randall shifts violently in his seat. "You were insubordinate. I had every right to keep an eye on you." Judge Judy snaps her head toward him with a look that silences the entire room. "Chief Randall, you will not speak unless instructed. You have lost the privilege of confidence here." A few people in the gallery exhale, quiet but triumphant breaths. Hale continues, voice steadier now that he's reclaiming his truth. "I thought I recorded that traffic stop to protect Mr. Ortega, but..." He hesitates. "I think part of me recorded it to protect myself. Because I knew someday he'd try to use one of those lists against me." Judy nods slowly. "That's not weakness, officer. That's survival." The comment hits Randall harder than anything said so far. His face purples with rage. "Oh, please, you're all acting like he's some hero. He's a coward who..." The bailiff steps closer, not touching Randall, but close enough to remind him he's not in charge. Investigator Ramirez steps forward. "Your Honor, Officer Morris's name appears in two separate documents, a personnel note labeled liabilities and a secondary planning sheet outlining disciplinary actions that were never filed through official channels." Hale's eyes close. He lets out a long breath, grief mixed with vindication. Luis whispers, "I'm so sorry." Hale looks up at him with surprising calm. "You didn't do this." "He did." Judge Judy leans forward. addressing Randall with a voice that carries the weight of consequence. Chief Randall, targeting a civilian is deplorable. Targeting an officer of your own department, one who expressed concern about your conduct, is something far darker. Randall scoffs. But it's hollow now. You've all turned on me. Every last one of you. No, Judy replies. You turned on them. There is a moment, just a sliver, where everyone sees the truth settle on Randall's shoulders. The realization that he is losing not only authority, but the story he has spun for years about his own righteousness. Judge Judy closes the file with finality. We are past allegation, past speculation. We now stand firmly within proof. Randall looks at her with something new in his eyes. Not anger, not arrogance, but fear. Judy lifts her gaze. It's time, she says, to discuss consequences. Chief Randall, legal, professional, and personal. Chief Randall sinks back into his chair as if the weight of the evidence finally presses down on him. The man who once strutted into the courtroom with a smirk now looks strangely small, like someone realizing the ground beneath him was hollow all along. The gallery watches, silent, waiting for his armor to shatter. Judge Judy folds her hands. Chief Randall, you may respond. For a long moment, he says nothing. His breathing shakes. His eyes flicker between Luis, Hale, the investigators, the judge searching for even one sympathetic face in a room full of truth. There is none. Randall finally forces out. I dedicated my life to that department. I kept order. I protected people who didn't even appreciate. Hale cuts in quietly. You protected your ego. Randall's eyes snap to him. But there's no fire left, only exhaustion and panic wrapped in thinning anger. You don't know what it's like, he mutters. You follow rules long enough, and the job stops being about justice. It becomes survival. Judge Judy doesn't let him hide behind philosophy. Survival does not require cruelty. He looks away. Luis watches him, grief and relief mingling in his expression. You didn't have to hurt me, he says softly. You didn't even know me. Randall's jaw trembles. You were easy. The entire room recoils. Judge Judy's voice goes cold. Thank you for your honesty, Chief. Truly. Investigator Cole steps forward. Your Honor, based on the pattern of targeted harassment, missing records, retaliation against Officer Morris, and documented premeditation, we recommend immediate suspension from duty pending formal review. The words land like blows. Randall straightens, suddenly panic flaring. No. No. You can't suspend me. You don't understand what happens if I'm off the job. The department, Judy interrupts calmly, will finally breathe. Randall opens his mouth again, but whatever argument he reaches for dissolves. His voice cracks. His shoulders slump. The facade fractures completely. This is the moment a titan falls, not with a scream, but with a quiet, breaking whisper. I just didn't think anyone would dare challenge me. And that truth, spoken aloud, is his undoing. Judge Judy rises. Chief Randall, I am preparing to deliver my ruling. Before I do, you should know. He looks up. Desperate. She meets his gaze with unflinching clarity. Your actions today have already reached the State Commission, and they have questions you cannot avoid. His face drains. The courtroom door opens again. Not investigators this time. Someone else. Someone Randall never expected to see. The courtroom door clicks shut behind the unexpected visitor, Randall's former deputy chief, Thompson, now retired. His presence alone rattles the room. A man respected, steady, unafraid. Someone who never bowed to Randall's intimidation. Randall stiffens, panic flashing across his face. Thompson, what are you doing here? Thompson steps forward, voice calm but edged with years of buried truth. Telling the judge what you never thought I would. Randall's composure fractures again. You owe me loyalty. I owe the badge integrity, Thompson replies. Something you forgot. Judge Judy gestures for him to proceed. Thompson turns to the bench. Your Honor, I came because I heard the investigators found the deleted files. I suspected it might finally be time. He breathes out, steady. For years, Chief Randall pressured officers to falsify documentation. When anyone refused, he threatened to block promotions, alter evaluations, or reassign them to dangerous posts. Hale looks down, remembering. Luis looks at Thompson with gratitude he can't speak. Judge Judy's features remain firm, absorbing each word with unblinking clarity. Retaliation, coercion, manipulation of official records, she recites. Consistent with today's evidence. Randall slams his hands on the table. They're all lying. Thompson's bitter. He didn't get my job. Hale's weak. Luis is opportunistic. Everyone in this room wants me gone. His voice rises until it cracks. The desperation beneath it, ringing louder than the accusation. Thompson steps closer, eyes locked on the man he once worked beside. You always believed you were untouchable. But power isn't protection, Randall. It's responsibility. Randall's breathing quickens. This is a framed spectacle, a witch hunt. You're all conspiring to ruin me. Judge Judy finally speaks, her tone still, unwavering. No one here ruined you. A beat. You did that yourself. Randall sways, stunned by the quiet devastation of those words. He opens his mouth again, grasping, reaching for one final defense. It's all manipulated, he shouts. The video. The logs. The statements. I'm being set up. Judge Judy tilts her head, and her voice shifts, calm, but impossibly sharp. Chief Randall, for something to be a setup, you need to be innocent. Dead silence. The chief's face crumples not in anger, but in the hollow realization that the room no longer believes a single word he says. Judge Judy lifts her gavel. It is time for judgment. She raises the gavel when Luis suddenly stands, voice shaking. Your Honor, before you rule, there's something I need to say. Luis stands slowly, his palms pressed against the table to steady the tremor in his hands. The courtroom watches him, this quiet mechanic who somehow became the center of a storm created by a man with a badge and unchecked power. Your Honor, he says softly, I want to say thank you for listening, for seeing me, for seeing all of us. His gaze drifts to Officer Hale. People like him deserve better leaders. Then to Thompson. People like him deserve courage that isn't punished. Luis finally looks at Randall, no anger, no bitterness, just the calm clarity of someone no longer afraid. I didn't want revenge, he says. I just wanted the truth to matter. Judge Judy nods deep, respectful. Thank you, Mr. Ortega. You may be seated. Luis sits. The courtroom stills. Judge Judy rises, and her presence fills the room like a final verdict, already echoing through the walls. Chief Randall, she begins, this court has considered the testimony, the evidence, the video documentation, and the statements of your fellow officers. What we have witnessed is not merely misconduct. It is not poor judgment. It is not a single mistake. Her voice hardens. It is a pattern of targeted harassment, deliberate retaliation, intimidation of civilians, coercion of subordinates, and willful destruction of evidence. Randall's eyes glisten not with remorse, but with the dawning realization that his world is collapsing with every word. Therefore, she continues, I am ruling fully in favor of the plaintiff, Mr. Ortega. You will compensate him for damages, emotional distress, lost tools, and all associated costs. Luis bows his head, overcome. But Judy isn't finished. And beyond this civil ruling, I am issuing a formal judicial referral to the State Oversight Commission for further action regarding your conduct. That referral includes intent to mislead this court, threats made within these proceedings, and retaliation against Officer Morris. Hale closes his eyes. Relief slides through him like breath returning after suffocation. Randall sinks into his seat, a man stripped of the identity he weaponized for years. The bailiff moves toward him, not with cuffs, but with finality. Chief, he says quietly, you need to come with us. Randall doesn't resist. He can't. As he's led toward the back doors, Judge Judy delivers the line that will follow him longer than any ruling. Power isn't a shield, she says softly. It's a test. The door closes behind him. The courtroom exhales. and justice finally settles into the room like sunlight after a storm.